Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to fix your Achilles tendinosis issues or tendonitis, tenosynovitis, whatever you want to call it. There's lots of names. I'm just talking about the degenerative or even traumatic injuries to the Achilles tendon. So the first thing that we do when we fix this issue is that we want to fix your diet first, okay? Because a lot of people with Achilles issues, they usually have calcification of the tendon, which is calcification of a soft tissue. They also have bone spurs. Those two things mean that you do not have a good diet. There's also a mineral imbalance. You have, there's also the other issue of having nightshade plants. That includes tomatoes, eggplants, potatoes, goji berries, peppers. All of those cause calcification of soft tissue. Another issue is you don't have enough nutrients for your body to utilize minerals accordingly, or your kidney function's faltered, or your liver's not functioning properly. But usually a lot of people are missing the fat-soluble vitamins that let you use minerals, and those are vitamin A from an animal source, vitamin D from sun exposure, and vitamin K2. Okay, K2 activates A and D. A and D work together. All of them together cause soft tissue not to be calcified. And so you need these nutrients for sure. A and D you can get from, A you can get from liver, D you can get from sun exposure. If not, just get cod liver oil. That's the easiest way to get those two nutrients. K2, I would love to get it from a whole food source, but it's not very easy to find in this world, so it's better just to buy it as a supplement. And I'm against supplements, but K2 is just one of those things that our farming practices are so bad that you just have to buy K2. It's just it's so scarce. You can't find it in nature really. Well, you can, I mean, in wild nature, but not in our mass farming practices. The other thing you need to do is stop eating so much sugar, excessive salt. You need to drink more water. You need to not have any processed foods. You need to have vegetables and fruits, so you have assimilable forms of minerals. And that's really good. Like bone broth is a great example of a very bioavailable form of minerals. All these things you really do need to fix your Achilles issues. These are the raw materials that make the Achilles tendon. If you don't have the raw materials to make it, guess what? It doesn't get made. Your body can't make something out of nothing. You have to give it the raw materials. And then also those nutrients, vitamin A and vitamin D, and then K2, those let you use the raw materials. So you need both of them to work together. In order to fix Achilles tendon issues, first, the actual treatment methods I'm going to go over besides diet is going to be soft tissue mobilization. That's a fancy word for just specialized massage. The first kind of massage we want to work on is trigger point therapy, and so that's muscle knots in the muscles around the injury. And so in the case of Achilles tendonitis or tendinosis, you get a lot of trigger points in the calf muscles and in the shin muscles and all the lower leg muscles in general. You can find them in the hamstrings and quadriceps and so on and so forth, and also in the feet. But we're going to go mainly over the calf muscles because those are the big ones that you really need to release. And the shin muscles, those are going to be a perpetuating factor. Just to give you an idea though, you can't just massage these things out and then you feel better, okay, and then you think, oh, that's fine, and then that's good. It doesn't work that way. You want to figure out, why do you have trigger points? Why is your body's muscles accommodating to a stressor in that way? Why do you have trigger points? And the most common cause is, at least in America and industrialized nations, is people wear shoes that elevate the heel, and when the heel is elevated, you have to shorten the calf muscle. Okay, and then the shin muscles are getting overstretched, so they're going to say, hey, come back, we're trying to shorten, and obviously we're going to use trigger points on both sides. When something's excessively lengthened, the body uses trigger points to try to contract it back together. If something's excessively shortened, then it's always contracted, and you're making like a synthetic trigger point because all the muscle fibers are bound together, and that's not good because muscles like to work within their range of motion so they can act as pumps to put nutrients into tissues and waste out of tissues. So you really need the muscles functioning if you want the nutrient waste exchange to occur so you can heal. Healing a lot of times is very fast and efficient, but the human organism usually doesn't allow for it to happen because they have all sorts of issues, whether it's diet because they don't move enough. If you don't move, nutrients don't get into the tissues and waste don't get out, and then you start to form degenerative processes where the body literally eats itself. And so we want to get those muscles moving, and the first way we're going to do that is with trigger point therapy. The first method we're going to use to massage out trigger points in the calf muscle and the shin muscle is we're going to start with the calf side, all right? So we're going to want to dig this knee into our other calf muscle. If I have Achilles issues on this one, I'm going to sit here and rub my knee into that corresponding calf muscle. You will find trigger points, okay? These are tender spots that hurt to rub. You might find some knots, or you might find that the whole muscle is just in an extremely contracted state, and it's very painful. When you start massaging it, you'll know that you hit a trigger point. The next method that we want to go over is going into the shins, all right? The shins, you kind of just have to use your hands for this one. I mean, there are some tools. You could always use a lacrosse ball and rub it out like this way. You can get pretty creative on the floor if you rub the shin over the lacrosse ball on the floor. Lots of things you can do with a lacrosse ball. There's lots of other different things you can find online for the shin muscles. But I mean, it's such a small muscle, and I'm kind of lazy. I just grab it and feel around until I find trigger points. Right now, I can't find a single trigger point in my shin muscle, which is unfortunate, because then I could show you exactly what I mean. Well, this is kind of a little tender spot, a little bit. It's just the fascia compartment, I believe. It's not really muscular though. But anyways, so yeah, first method, knee into the calf muscle, massage it back and forth. The next method for the calf muscle is going to be both thumbs, okay? We're going to push our thumbs into the calf muscle, and this is for more deeper tissue work, okay? So once you use the knee method, you can find out where your trigger points are, and then use the thumb method to get really in there. Another spot that they love to congregate or develop is you'll feel this bone right here, right? The tibia, and right underneath you'll feel a meaty part. So there's a big shelf, and then there's a meaty part right underneath the shelf. What you want to do is feel in there and see if there's any tender spots. If you find a big knot, what you can do is you can apply pressure like that, and then move the foot like this, and then release. Point, press on tender spot, move, release. You can also do this in the back, like just kind of doing this kind of stuff. This is active muscle technique stuff. But I mean, yeah, you're just mobilizing the tissue, massaging it out. My absolute favorite method for fixing trigger points in the calf muscles is a rolling pin. So what you want to do is you want to put your calf muscle on a bed, on a bench, couch, whatever is comfortable. You want to be able to have the foot hanging off, and you want to be able to be in this position so that you can actually get in there. And this is where you put your whole entire weight. Just a warning, you can't do this if you have risk for blood clots. That's a bad idea. Don't do that. You can first start off by rolling back and forth and just get things moving, okay? And then after a while, once you get it all set up, you can hang your foot off a little bit, press, and then move your foot back and forth, point and flex. So find a tender spot, and then point and flex, point and flex. This one is like my favorite method to hitting the peroneal group and also the deep flexors, right down in here, also the bottom of the soleus. I mean, I can reach the gastrocnemius and all this top calf, like, because I can grab it, right? This stuff is kind of hard, and so using a rolling pin just works extremely well for this purpose. Also, you can use a rolling pin on the front. I'm not a big fan. If you have a smaller rolling pin, like those little trigger point things, those rollers you can buy on Amazon and stuff, those work pretty well. Shin muscle, though, it just responds so well to hands. You can just feel right in there. And so yeah, that's the trigger point part of this video. Now we're going to get into scraping technique. Hey guys, so the next part of this tutorial is scraping technique. My favorite tool for scraping the Achilles tendon is going to be a Gua tool. It's Gua SHA. I'll probably put a link in this video somewhere around here. And so this is a Gua tool. This is made out of jade, you buy them, they're made in China for like nothing. You can buy this thing for like $4. It's pretty darn cheap. This little tiny spot right here, this little curve, that's where we're gonna put our Achilles tendon and we're gonna scrape. But why are we scraping, okay? It's kind of similar to the trigger point therapy where we want to force nutrients in and waste out. Usually you'll have a nutrient waste exchange deficit in the Achilles tendon if it's in a degenerative state. So what we want to do is we want to force feed it nutrients so that it can get out of the degenerative state and start healing itself. Because if you don't get nutrients in and waste out, the area will start eating itself up, and that's how you get the tendinosis instead of tendonitis. What we need to do is take this with lotion and rub on the skin. The place that we want to do it is going to be on the Achilles tendon and on the calf and on the foot a little bit. The foot, if all your foot muscles, if you have a high arch, which isn't very common because people have weak feet, so it's usually a flatter foot, but if you have a high arch and it's pulling the calcaneus or the heel bone down, it might be putting some stress on your Achilles tendon. But that's not as common. So we're going to go over those methods a little bit, but that's going to be at the end. First thing that we want to do is know that when we start this and we start rubbing into the Achilles tendon, it has to be very gentle, okay? Especially if you've had Achilles issues for a long time, you're going to want to start slow. Just do it very gently at first, okay? If you get really sore for a couple days, give it a break. Come back to it later. There's no rush. Just take this nice and easy. The trigger points, I mean, if you're sore, whatever, it's muscular. You just push, the water in and out. Circulation does its job. You get, you can acclimate to trigger point therapy very quickly. But when it comes to scraping, it takes a little bit while longer. So I only suggest doing like 1 time a day with the scraping. You can do quite a few times a day with the trigger point therapy though. Not as much for the scraping. So without further ado, let's go over how to do that. All right, so imagine if I have Achilles tendon issues. I can't even speak, I'm sorry guys. Put lotion all over your Achilles tendon and your calf muscle. You take your Gua shot tool. Oh, and I forgot, this is another tool I like to use. Size 19 a wrench, has a smooth, soft edge, just like the Gua shot tool. Gua shot tools, you can replace these with like cutting boards and spatulas and other things around the house if you don't have them. All you need is a rounded edge that you can rub against your skin if you have lotion on it. If it hurts to do it, don't do it. You need something like this, a rounded edge. First, we're going to take that little edge and we're going to stick it right on the Achilles. See how it forms or conforms to its shape really nicely. First, we're going to do it with, see how my calf's shortened because my foot's pointed? So I'm going to relax my calf muscle and just go back and forth, up and down. If you've had Achilles tendinosis issues for a long time, you want to do this at least, for a while. You really want to get things moving like this. You can go right on the injury itself with scraping methods, but you have to be gentle, okay, especially if there's calcified soft tissues. And then after a while, I need some more lotion. After a while, it will get nice and warmed up and it will become less sensitive. So when you first start, it'll be a little bit sensitive to these methods, but once it feels less sensitive, then you can stretch the calf and do this kind of scraping, all right? See how when I lift the foot up, this gets taut, okay? And then we want to go all the way down to the heel bone. If you have a bunch of stuff like congregated bone spurs around the insertion, or if you have crunchies inside there, you want to just do it very slowly, all right? After a while, you can increase the pressure on these areas, but at first, I'm telling you, go nice and slow, work in one area, then move over to the next one. You can also go back and forth between short and long. Also, using the scraping tool, I love getting to the deep flexors in the back here when it's shortened. So when you point your foot, relax the calves, you can do that. Also, same method, just go back and forth on the foot, okay? Go on the sides of the foot, on the outside of the foot, and then also on the shin muscle, okay? Usually, if you elevate the heel from wearing a shoe, like for modern footwear today, you're going to have the shin muscle is going to be excessively stretched. It's going to be in a weird position too, especially with the toes and how it, a lot of shoes nowadays throw off your body's biomechanical structure in a very unfavorable fashion, so forces don't get distributed how they should. Anyways, Gua shot tool, you go back and forth on the shin bones. Guilloche tool, this one's great for Achilles. And then this one's good for the bottom of the foot and the shin. This one's good for like the calf muscle. But yeah, just experiment. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand this stuff. Also, the wrench, really good for the whole Achilles tendon, not the insertion. The insertion, you want to use a small tool like a guilloche tool, just like this. When you're working with the big part up here, especially if you have a bunch of grainy tissue up here, if you run over it and you feel graininess, and you hear like a bunch of granular tissue, put some more lotion on there and go over nice and slow, and it will free up a lot of that gunk. Also, you can use the wrench on the shin and on the foot. I love the wrench. The wrench is great. You can also use, cutting boards and other things. Alright, so you're also going to want to stretch the calf muscles and the shin muscles. So the best way to do this is with kinetic chain stretches. What you're going to want to do is lay on the ground next to a wall. I'm going to show you a quick little example of this. And you want to put your butt against the wall, okay? And you want to put your knee against the wall as much as you can. And first, just let everything fall down. Put your pelvis into the ground, straighten out your legs, and then start bringing your feet like back, not pointed. This is going to stretch out your calves and hamstrings a lot. Contract the quads and the shin muscles so that you can release the calves and the hamstrings. You want to release the whole entire chain. Also, after you're done doing this, you want to have a flat shoe so that your body doesn't have to accommodate for that compromised position of having a shoe with an elevated heel. Also, you can push one leg down into the ground, into the floor, and then stretch out. And then you want to do inverted and then everted, okay? These are just basic calf stretches, back and forth. Hold them for about 20 seconds each. They're really good, really good. Keep that quad contracted. Try to push your leg down into the floor. Keep that pelvis sinking into the ground. Also for your shins, just point. When your legs are straight and you point them, it does like the whole fascial train in the front, and it really feels good. And that's pretty much it. Once you do the kinetic chain stretches, you're pretty much good to go. Do not do the kinetic chain stretches until about 4 weeks into doing the scraping and the trigger point therapy. You also do not want to do the scraping until 2 weeks of doing trigger point therapy, or 1 week. Yeah, 1 week would work, but it depends on how good your diet is. All of these estimates, you have to kind of go by feel. So try out the trigger point therapy. If it really hurts and causes a lot of pain, you don't want to do scraping yet. If it feels good and it's awesome, in a couple days, try the scraping out a little bit. If you really respond to these treatments quickly and you're getting a lot less pain, then move on over to the kinetic chain stretches. Try all the therapies though, the trigger point therapy, the scraping therapy, and the kinetic chain stretches in that order though. You want to try it first in that order and feel what you can find and see if there's anything that needs to be fixed. Besides that, I hope this video helps you guys a lot. Let me know if you have any questions. I probably missed some stuff because that was a pretty long video. Just let me know if you have questions and I'll explain into more detail. And also the frequency, you gotta play it by feel, okay? I can't tell you guys all, like one person I would want to do trigger point therapy for a month, one person I want them to do it for a day. You have to feel the tissue and know how much needs to be done. I can't just say, do this. You have to feel it, and feel what works, and over time you'll get accustomed to how your body adapts to these therapies. Alright, and if you like this video, give it a like and comment below. Alright, thank you guys. Bye.